So I haven't done a male focused video for quite a long time, and also I haven't done a classy fragrances video for a long time, but today I'm talking about 20 of my most favorite classy masculine fragrances for men from niche houses. So if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today it's all about classy masculine fragrances for men from the niche houses. I want to tell you that these fragrances are mostly targeted to men, but there are also unisex offerings that are from the niche houses, but I feel like they're masculine enough. In fact, all fragrances should be unisex anyway, but these are all masculine leaning, and as I said, some are strictly targeted to men, and there are some unisex offerings here that are also on the masculine side. So we're going to find out what they are, but if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. We're going to jump right into this, but just a little things before. I've done a few videos in this topic before, so if you're curious to learn about the previous videos, you can just search for classy masculine and you'll find them on my channel. But let's get right to it here. HOUBIGANT FOUGERE ROYALE is the first offering here. This is a relaunch of a classic men's fougere fragrance. Fougere means fern, from the 1800s. That was when it was first launched, in the late 1800s. They brought it back in 2010, and this is the 10-year anniversary. I definitely have to include it here, and it's a very, very classy masculine fougere, which focuses on lavender, geranium, green notes, oak moss, chamomile. It's an ultra green fougere, leaning barbershop-y, all that good stuff. So if you like that style of a fragrance, this is definitely one that you should not miss out, especially since it's so historic, and it was the very, very first fougere ever created in the late 1800s. Find out about this fragrance from my videos online. I speak a lot about this fragrance. It's a classic house, HOUBIGANT, a French house, and a very classic fragrance, but very modern too, because it was redone in 2010. So this is Fougere Royale from HOUBIGANT. Next up, going to a house called MILANO. This is for him. So this one was a fragrance from the 80s that was shelved and then brought back a few years ago, and I did a review last year, and it is sold at Lucky Scent. You can go check out over there. Again, this is another aromatic style of spicy offering for men. It does, I'm going to put this one on because I'm not wearing anything today. This one, it does have, okay, well, let me explain to you. It kind of borderline touches things like Eau Sauvage, Chanel Pour Monsieur, and then other fragrances like YSL's Pour Homme. But I feel like taking all of those and adding some spices to it, maybe a little bit of slightly animalic and musky undertones, and pretty much that's what you get with this. It's very, very classy. It's very, very masculine, and also very aromatic and amazing. I actually really love this one. It really takes me back to yesteryear when I was very young, 9 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, and I was stealing sprays from dad and uncles and things like that. That's what it reminds me of. And it smells great today. And this is also under $100. So check out my review and then learn about Milano CENTO for him. I think it's wonderful, especially if you like masculine offerings that take you back to the yesteryear. So this next one is from the house of KAJAL. This is KAJAL Homme, this one right here. And I'm going to spray this on the other hand here because I find this one to be very, very unique smell as far as a fragrance targeted to men. KAJAL Homme focuses on tonka beans. So the tonka beans adds this warmth to it, slightly vanillic almondy undertones, along with cashmerean, which is quite sexy. I find it to be very sexy. Throw in the citruses of the mandarin and then add in patchouli, which I also find sexy. And then you add some spices of cardamom and then woody notes of guaiac wood and sandalwood. For me, I find this one to be a very masculine, I guess I would go to the extent of calling it like a aromatic, spicy, aromatic, woody fragrance, but it's a very, very unique twist with the very dominant note of tonka beans. In fact, the tonka beans are pretty potent, but you do have that orangey mandarin note in here and the sexy cashmerean with patchouli. It's a phenomenal release. So this is KAJAL Homme. Check it out if you don't know it. I do have some reviews on the channel of this house as well. And you can go find out about the house because I find the collection of their fragrances quite amazing. But that one's specifically targeted to men. Of course, it's called KAJAL Homme. Here it's from the house of ROJA Parfums, and this is Scandal pour Homme Parfum Cologne. This is the Parfum Cologne version, and I find this to be very, very classy, masculine. I really love the original, but I love the Cologne version a lot more. There's something about it in here, the freshness mixed in with the spiciness of the original. It's a barbershop fougere style fragrance again, and it just makes for a very, very classy experience. In fact, I find this one to be very freshened up in the top notes, and then as it develops onto your skin and then develops to the heart and the base, you get more of a deeper experience, reminding you more of the original scent. But it starts off very, very fresh. I find this to be an awesome offering from ROJA Parfums, especially in their Parfum Colognes collection. This is probably my favorite in the Parfums Cologne collection, Parfum Colognes collection. In fact, I appreciate it much more than the Creation E, which is my favorite fragrance from the house, if you aren't talking about the Parfum Cologne collection. So anyway, this is ROJA Parfums Scandal pour Homme Parfum Cologne. Check it out, it's quite awesome. This next one is from the house of Ormonde Jayne. This is Ormonde Man, this one right here. This is class all the way. In fact, this is another British house like ROJA Parfums. This one uses cedar, pink pepper, cardamom, sandalwood, hemlock, juniper. It is ultra classy, very, very masculine, but not over the top masculine. It still kind of has like unisex touches in there, but overall I feel like it's definitely leaning masculine and very, very classy. And in here there is a creamy undertone, and I think the sandalwood is amped up in here and gives it the milky, creamy experience. Very, very warm sandalwood, along with all the spicy and aromatic notes that are present in here. Very, very classic fragrance. I love this one. Check it out. Ormonde Man from the house of Ormonde Jayne. All right, next we're going to the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois. This is B683, this one right here. Here we have a wonderful woody, leathery fragrance focusing on lots of saffron, and the saffron is creating this leathery accord. And then you've got musk in here. It's very, very sexy. I love the musk in here. There's violet leaves, and then there's also pink pepper, nutmeg, patchouli. Very, very classy offering from this house. I was toying with the idea of including Ganymede over this one, but I went with this one. I find this one to be more masculine than the other one. The other one I find to be a little more unisex, and since I had the choice of picking one or the other, I did go with B683. This is created by the perfumer Quentin Biche, and he's a pretty amazing perfumer. He does great things when he doesn't do them for the designers, which the designers usually basically give him a brief and he has to follow it. And here he's done a great job, because this is a great house, wonderful house. I have a review for this one and also Ganymede. If you're curious to discover the house, go check those videos out. Anyway, this is B683 from Marc-Antoine Barrois. Definitely an awesome, classy, masculine fragrance. Next, going to the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Masculine Pluriel. Here we have a fougere, a barbershop, aromatic, spicy, woody fragrance from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And this guy is one of the most amazing perfumers ever. He does some great things. I feel like his house, his Maison Francis Kurkdjian, there is a very minimalistic kind of sensibility about the fragrances. It feels like he is more reserved in using different ingredients, but what you end up with is very, very classy and masculine. The whole house reeks classy among all the offerings, but he does wonderful things. And with this one, I find it to be a very, very classy offering from the Francis Kurkdjian, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, because this one has lots of lavender. It is, after all, a fougere, aromatic, woody type of a fragrance. There's lots of vetiver here. There is patchouli there, There's lots of cedar. It's just an ultra aromatic woody experience. There's lots of woods, and then of course you've got that big dose of lavender, which is pretty much common and found in fragrances like this. Anyway, classy fragrance. I feel like this is maybe a little underrated. A lot of people do not talk about it. I'm not sure why. It's not one of the big ones like Baccarat Rouge or Grand Soir, but definitely this is very, very classy. If you like the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian and you like aromatic fougères or aromatic woody fragrances, this is definitely worth it. So this is Masculine Pluriel from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Next, going to the house of Penhaligons, and this is the Tragedy of Lord George, this one right here. Here we have a unique, another barbershop fragrance. This is a very unique fragrance because it has shaving soap as an accord, and then there's also brandy in the notes. So you got boozy, woody notes, amber and tonka. It's a wonderful offering, great bottle as well, and very, very classy and masculine. Of course, Penhaligons, another British house, is also very classy. I find British houses to be on the classier side. I'm not sure what that is, but JAYNE, Penhaligons, ROJA, they're all very, very classy houses, and the fragrances smell very classy, and this one doesn't disappoint in the classy category. It's definitely masculine. You got the barbershop-y elements in here with that shaving soap, but you also have boozy elements here with Lord George, the Tragedy of Lord George. Tragedy of Lord George. It's a mouthful there. But you also have a wonderfully beautiful bottle, as you can see. Anyway, check out this one. This is the Tragedy of Lord George from the house of Penhaligons. Next up, going to the house of Eight and Bob, and this is Cap d'Antibes, this one right here. So this one is so good. Something in here gives me a green cinnamon vibe. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but this is all about violet leaves, birchwood, cedarwood, mint, green notes, incense. It's an ultra green experience, but that violet leaf note in here is very succulent. You can experience like the gelatinous quality of the notes in here. Like it wears thick and gloppy, which I really like it in this fragrance. But it's also very, very green and very, very dense. Plus, you have that cinnamony, like a green cinnamony quality, which adds a spicy accord to the fragrance, to the mix, and I really enjoy that one. This is another house that's very, very classy offerings. A lot of the fragrances definitely lean masculine rather than feminine or unisex, and this is definitely one of the more masculine offerings. So this is Eight and Bob, Cap d'Antibes, a great green spicy fragrance utilizing violet leaves, and check that one out as well. So this next one is a fragrance I recently reviewed, and this is called, it's from the house of Zerzhov. It's Castelmorati Mephisto Gentle Uomo, this one right here. Another one that's kind of aromatic and spicy, you know, bordering the barbershop-y kind of a category of fragrances. This one here, we got violet again. We got lots of lavender with grapefruit, musk, iris, bergamot, lemon, amber. So this one, they have barbershop items or things to do with grooming in relation to this particular fragrance, so you can buy those. If you've ever been to their shop in Turin, which I've been, check it out. I have a few videos at the store. But I have their beard oil, and I don't really have too thick of a beard, but whenever it gets thicker, which I shave off pretty frequently, I do it every 3-4 days, I do add that on, and it's very soft. In fact, the whole fragrance itself is very soft. There's something very soft and baby soft about it. I don't know where it's coming from. It just feels like very smooth and delicate, and I like that about it because it gives a very softer quality to a kind of like aromatic notes, because aromatic notes tend to usually go sharp on me, but this one is the reverse. It's very, very soft. I don't know where that comes from, and when you combine it with that beard oil, which is also very oily and soft, what a combo it is. Anyway, this is a great release from this house, Zerzhov Mephisto Gentle Uomo. Check it out. Wonderful release. 10 more to go, and this one is from the house of AMOUAGE, and this is Portrayal Man, this one right here. Now, I did a video of this one, a whole review for Saint-Laurent, and I also did a first impressions with this along with the Portrayal Woman, which I also find to be slightly unisex because it's full-on gardenia with lots of tobacco. Check that one out if you're curious and you like gardenia and tobacco together. But here we got a very, very masculine, classy offering. Portrayal Man is all about violet leaves. I featured this in my violet leaves fragrances video, but this one also has juniper berries and vetiver. So masculine. It's very, very like on the scale on the masculine side. When you wear this one, it's very, very green and herbaceous, and then there's also this like spicy, sparkly, effervescent cumin note pops through and kind of like gives you a sparkling experience. When I wear cumin, I get sparkliness because I feel like it crackles, and you get that here. But it is very, very green and masculine, a very, very masculine offering, and very, very full-on taking advantage of the violet leaves notes, which gives it a kind of a aquatic in a sense of not necessarily like the marine, but just aquatic. And then there's also ozonic, very, very earthy experience. So check it out. AMOUAGE Portrayal Man is a wonderful offering from this house, which I really, really do enjoy. This next one is from the house of NISHANE. It's HACIVAT. I have to include this one on this list because it's so classy and masculine, but also very, very fresh, also very, very intense. It's one of the best from this house, and I can't get enough of it, and a little goes a long way. Now, I was going to feature Creed's Aventus, but I decided to leave that off, and I went with this one because I like this one a little more, well, a lot more, I think. But this one's all about pineapple, oak moss, grapefruit, bergamot, woody notes, patchouli, cedar. I guess this would be considered a woody chypre or a fruity chypre fragrance because of that oak moss note. But this one, a very, very modern chypre, if I wanted to classify it as a chypre. But man, this one's so good. It is so, so good. If you like Aventus and you've never tried this, and I'm not saying they're identical because I feel like this one has so much more oak moss in it that it's like intense. Oak moss and patchouli together, a really, really intense combination of the two, and a winner for me. This is NISHANE HACIVAT. Check that out. It's very, very classy and very masculine. If you're gonna wear it to work, wear just a little because it's gonna overwhelm. So this next one is from the house of JACQUES, and this is LODEN. This is the one right here, and I featured this in a vetiver fragrances video that I had put out with Dahlia. We both really love this one. I love the intense pungency of this one. It smells very wet, damp, earthy, vetiver. Throw in some tobacco. A juniper berry note comes in. It's very green and aromatic with patchouli. There are more aromatic notes of geranium, spicy notes of zingy, spicy ginger, pink pepper. You've got one classy masculine vetiver fragrance. This has become one of my favorite vetiver fragrances. In fact, it's up there with like Sycamore and Dior's vetiver. It's a phenomenal release. If you don't know this one, please do check it out. LODEN from JACQUES. It's awesome. So this next one is from the house of PARFUMS de NICOLAI. This is New York Intense, this one right here. So this is wonderful offering, very, very classic, very masculine. It is a unisex offering, but I feel like this leans so masculine on the scale. So definitely, if you like classic and classy masculine fragrances, New York Intense is one for you to try. Again, here we got oak moss again. These are all very, very masculine notes. Oak moss, bergamot, lavender, black pepper, yuzu. It's very citrusy. It's very aromatic. It's so good though. It is wonderful offering. If you don't know this one and you like fragrances like Bois de Portugal, Guerlain-esque fragrances, things like that, this one's definitely one that's going to satisfy you. So check this out. This is Parfums de Nicolai New York Intense. So this next one is from the house of Maître Parfumé Gantier. This is a fragrance called Garrigue, this one right here. I think that's how you say it. So this one, for me, another one that kind of reminds me of another Creed. This one reminds me of Green Irish Tweed a little bit, but this one's ultra musky. Very, very it has an ozonic feel to it as well, just like the ozonic feel that's in another fragrance I was just talking about, the Portrayal Man. So there's lots of musk, there's juniper berries, rosemary, sage, thyme, bergamot, lots of aromatic notes there, very herbal, herbaceous, but the ozonic quality is up there. It's like aquatic but not being marine. It's like ozonic and earthy and lots of musk, beautiful combination of notes. And it does, as I said, remind me a little bit of Green Irish Tweed or things like that. So there is that interesting water-like accord thrown in there. Wonderful release from the house of Maître Parfumé Gantier. It's Garrigue. Check it out if you don't know this one. I guess I couldn't really leave this fragrance out because it has a name Gentleman in the title of the fragrance. This is from a house called Le Galion. This is Special for Gentlemen. The very first time I sampled this one, Special for Gentlemen, was in a mini bottle set that I bought from Javoy back in 2014 of the house when they had just relaunched. This is a classic house that's been resurrected, and Special for Gentlemen reminded me of the fragrances I grew up with. Classic aromatic fougere type fragrances, but there was something unique about this one. There was a warmth to it. So it has a very, very interesting, almost like benzoin incense resin note of Apalpanax, mixed in with lavender, mixed in with oak moss, then throw in your yuzu and bergamot, and throw in some vanilla to sweeten it up further, and throw in some birchwood to add some smoky layers to it. Oh man, this is so good. Special for Gentlemen takes me back to when I was young and, you know, stealing sprays or bottle tests from my father, my not grandfather, but my uncles and things like that. It takes me back to those days when I was like really learning and smelling awesome men's classic fragrances. Anyway, if you don't know this one, check it out. Special for Gentlemen is quite special, and it's very, very classy and masculine. One that deserves to be tested out. So this next one is from the house of Parlez-moi de Parfum. I do have a full review of this one. It's not Mile High, but this is Papyrus Oud 71, this one right here. Now this one is in here because it does take me back to reminding me of Gucci Pour Homme, the original incensey one that was created by Michel Almerac. So Michel Almerac created that fragrance, and that was discontinued by Gucci. Now his son launched the house Parlez-moi de Parfum, so they brought it back in this fragrance, Papyrus Oud 71. It is a very, very classy fragrance, although it is a little more edgier than the rest of these fragrances, because I feel like papyrus, olibanum, cedar, not cedar as much, but just the papyrus and olibanum give it like this heft to it. And I find that fragrances that are really intense, which this can be sometimes, are not as classy as more like aromatic, woody kind of experiences. But it is a very, very classy masculine offering that I like. It's papyrus. It's Papyrus Oud after all. There's oud in the fragrance. There's olibanum. Olibanum is that like frankincense, incense, very incensey, and that's what kind of makes the combination to smell like Gucci Pour Homme, the original. If you've been missing that fragrance, you can find it in this one right here. Also you got cedar, vanilla, musk, and patchouli thrown in. Becomes a wonderful release. It's very, very classy, but you gotta like the incense touches and you gotta like the papyrus touches. Check it out. Parlez-moi de Parfum, Papyrus Oud 71. Wonderful release. This next one is a classic from the house of Frederic Malle. This is French Lover. This one right here. This has gotta be in there. This is wonderful. To me, it smells very green, and it smells very, very pungent and spicy. Lots of Angelica with this one. Lots of Galbanum with this one. I love this note, Galbanum. It's very bitter green. Reminds me of salad sometimes. I don't know why, but I like that. Vetiver, cedar, spicy notes, oak moss. It smells like chopped greens with an ozonic or just not ozonic as much, but earth, and it's getting kind of damp out there before it rains. I don't know if that makes sense to you. A little bit also of cucumbers, what's inside the cucumbers, the pulp, all that good stuff kind of reminds me of this fragrance. French Lover, a great name as well. Check it out if you don't know it. Very, very classy and masculine from the house of Frederic Malle. So this next one is from the house of Parfums de Marly. This is Byerly. Now I had to put this one, it was a toss-up between Sedley and Byerly. I feel like this is more masculine than Sedley. Sedley is very masculine, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this one's even more masculine. It's very, very classy because it's vetiver, and there's a creamy gaiac wood note thrown in here, along with cardamom and cedar, and you got a wonderful offering. It's vetiver after all, but it's also gaiac and cedar and cardamom all rolled into one. Very, very unique offering, very, very underrated offering from Parfums de Marly, and very, very classy and masculine. If you like a unique vetiver with that creamy gaiac wood, check it out. Really, really beautiful. Don't forget the cardamom as well, because it's pretty prominent in Byerly from the house of Parfums de Marly. And last but not least, is it here? Yes, it's here. This is from the House of Creed. I had to put one fragrance from the House of Creed, and it's my favorite fragrance from the House of Creed. This is Royal Oud. Class all the way with this one. When I first got this fragrance, it was my very, very first Creed fragrance back in 2013. It was a lot of money I spent on it, but as soon as I got it, blind, I was like, well, no, I guess it wasn't blind because I did go to Neiman's and smell them. but I did order it online. I was like floored by how great this fragrance is. It's just very, very classy. I guess I'm also really, really happy that it's a cedar dominant fragrance, a pink pepper, sandalwood. There is oud, there's angelica, galbanum, lemon. There's some ashiness in there. There's some sweetness in there, but just a class all the way. This is, if I only know Creed for one fragrance, it would be this one, not Aventus. I like Aventus, don't get me wrong, but this is what really does it for me with Creed. This is an excellent, excellent offering from this house, and it really, really deserves the attention. If you like oud, but not, I mean, for me, I wouldn't say this is an oud fragrance. There's minute touches of it. It's more about cedar, and I love cedar in fragrances. It's fresh, it's spicy, it's woody. Definitely check it out. The oud, I think, adds a little bit of like a ashy tobacco kind of a experience in the notes, but wonderful. Anyway, Royal Oud is definitely my favorite Creed, and definitely a classy masculine offering from a niche house. And that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. What are your thoughts about these fragrances? Are you a fan of these fragrances? Have you tried them all, or which one are you curious to try more? Also, let me know from the niche houses, no designers today, what are your favorite classy masculine offerings from the niche houses? If you have any that I haven't discussed with you today, please put a comment down so that I can find out. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today on this Saturday. If you have any questions or comments, please put it down below as a comment. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.